Hi everyone! At a certain point in life, every living creature has experienced cold weather. For some, cold habitats are usual and not challenging at all. For others, they represent a destructive power, which is extremely difficult to overcome. However, no terrestrial animal, no matter how strong or resistant to cold, can survive in really cold water for a long time. And sometimes, people from all corners of the world find amazing, impressive, and frankly, rather scary things in the ice. And today, you will learn about them. Get ready for the most shocking stories of animals that fell victim to the treacherous ice. Let's get it on! As we already mentioned, some animals quite easily cope with extreme cold. You're probably thinking about penguins, seals, polar bears, and other animals living in the Arctic Circle. If so, then, well, prepare to be surprised, because alligators are also among such animals. Yes, you heard right. Of course, they do not live in permafrost regions. However, they can easily survive cold conditions in their natural habitats, and they choose quite an unusual tactic for this. It may seem that these alligators were frozen in ice and died, but don't worry. In fact, they are alive. Such behavior is a survival mechanism that alligators have evolved. They stick their noses out of the water to breathe. When the water on the surface freezes and turns into ice, they get stuck but continue to live. The body temperature of the animal drops, the metabolism slows down. In fact, they fall into a very deep sleep and wait until the ice melts. This unique natural phenomenon was shot on camera last January in North Carolina, USA. One can say that alligators are lucky. After all, they are the oldest reptiles that outlived even dinosaurs. But horses are not so fortunate when it comes to ways of survival. The following story is not as simple as the previous one. This video was shot on July 13, 2015 in the
月々のスマホ料金をもっと安くしたいと思っているあなた、UQ モバイルの家族
snow-capped peaks of Chile. A Chilean snowboarder, Rafael Peace, decided to celebrate his birthday doing what he loved most, snowboarding. Could he expect to find such an unusual thing in the snow? Something tells us that he couldn't. At first, Rafael and the other guys who were nearby thought that it was just a stone in the distance. When they came closer, they saw that the stone was moving. It was a horse! Turned out that the poor thing fell into the snow too deep to be able to get out on its own. Fortunately, the guys didn't abandon the animal doomed to certain death. They dug the snow out from under the horse and created a path for it to come down the mountains. After about 4 hours, they reached the village in the valley, where the horse was reunited with its owner. Turned out the animal spent 4 days in this state. The horse fought for its life and, fortunately, it escaped death. Cold weather and a sharp drop in temperature can sometimes occur in the most unexpected places. These turtles, apparently, did not even suspect that soon the shallow waters where they lived would turn into ice. But we have good news for you again. Turtles, like the alligators we already mentioned today, are classified as reptiles. It means they can withstand extreme temperatures quite well. Here, have a look. The turtle was just pulled out of the ice, and here it moves its feet as if nothing terrible happened. By the way, we want to honor the people who dragged them out. This is what real heroes do. The man we are about to show you took a huge risk in order to save the dog's life. Surely there are people who would say that putting your own life in danger to save the animal is stupid, but we agree to disagree. If there is an opportunity to help, why not do it? Moreover, just look at the way this dog is looking at his savior. Dogs are warm-blooded animals. They suffer from the cold just as we do. That is why this dog that fell into the ice was doomed. Nice to know there are truly brave people in the world. We suggest seeing the entire rescue operation till the end.
Good boy, Harvey! Keep going. Come on!
Come on. Yeah, good lad.
Oh, yes, silly boy. Let's have a look because you had a cut on your foot.
And here is another story about horses. This time, 2 15-year-old gorgeous horses, Gunther and Wilhelm of the Clydesdale breed, fell into the ice trap. Early in the morning, in the middle of February 2019, the owners of the horses found out the horses were missing. It soon turned out that Wilhelm and Gunther had broken out of their enclosure and broke through the ice into 10 feet of water about a football field length from shore. Clydesdale horses are quite heavy. The weight of one horse can reach a ton. It seemed to be impossible to pull such such large animals out of the ice. The situation seemed to be grave. Gunter and Wilhelm were almost certainly about to suffer a painful death, but fortunately, the rescuers showed amazing ingenuity. They cut a rescue path through the ice and then simply pulled the animals out of the ice trap. Another story with a happy ending, this time from the state of Pennsylvania, USA. Good job, rescue team! It's hard to admit it, but animals very often end up in ice-cold water, and they cannot get out by themselves. Each such occasion is a real tragedy, but let's try to focus on the fact that not all such incidents end in a tragic way. As you already understood, there are many good people in the world, and they always try to help animals in distress. This elk, for sure, experienced the most terrible moments of his life, but the most important thing is that people cleared his path to the shore.
Yes.
Do you think that in such dangerous situations, animals understand that people want to help them? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. It is much more difficult for a small animal to cope with the cold than for a large one. That is why this bird had no chance to survive without a man. It's amazing how he spotted such a tiny creature in the snow. And it is even more amazing that this man was ready to give it all to save the life of such a small creature. The legs of the bird were frozen into the snow, and in order to free it, the man had to pour warm water on it. And even though the rescued bird looks very fragile, do not worry, everything is fine. The man carried it into his house, where it dried off, and after a few hours, the bird flew away from the house of its savior. This big moose was trapped in the ice, but thankfully the rescue crew arrived in time. They quickly cut the ice with axes and freed the stuck animal from the ice. The beak, as well as the claws of the bald eagle, are powerful enough to pierce beavers, raccoons, and even seals. Now, when you know that, you understand how risky it was to approach this bird of prey. It is not entirely clear how the eagle managed to end up trapped in the ice. The entire back of his body was covered with so much snow and ice that the poor bird simply could not take off. But this did not stop people armed with warm water. The eagle was taken inside, where it dried off. The rescue team was able to remove the ice fragments. Judging by the face of the eagle, we can assume that the bird is completely confused. But it is better to suffer a little than die from the cold. Unfortunately, people cannot save all the animals trapped in the ice. We believe that it's an important thing to remember if we want to keep our pets away from danger. What you see on the screen is Kazakhstan after the flood. The stream of water took the lives of 3 herds of horses, as well as several camels. We feel very sorry for the animals, but we also feel sorry for the people who suffered such a terrible loss. Unfortunately, we cannot find out whether this snake was rescued, but in any case, this is a very unusual thing to find under the ice. It seems that even under a crust of ice, the animal feels just fine. Well, reptiles are very mysterious creatures indeed. It seems that this video was shot by hunters. They probably just wanted to film their hunting. However, they stumbled upon the animals trapped in the ice. From a distance, it is not entirely clear who fell through the ice. However, if you get closer, it becomes clear. These are boars. Despite the fact that the lake is quite small, the animals still cannot get out of it on their own. The most interesting thing here is that wild animals, if you look closely, try to reach for humans and do not resist the rescue operation at all. It seems to us that they understand these people have good intentions. Horses happen to get stuck in ice more often than other animals, and therefore they have to be rescued more often than others. There are tons of stories about horses who got trapped in the ice. Our last story for today is also about the rescue of a horse. We cannot even imagine that firefighters had such an interesting job. They put out fires, carry people out of burning buildings, help cats down trees, and also pull horses out of a frozen lake. This story happened a few years ago in Missouri. The owners of the horses named Meadow and Xena admitted that they were devastated when they learned about the incident. After all, they raised their horses like their own children. Firefighters used chainsaws to rescue horses from the ice trap, and this story had a happy ending. Now you understand better how dangerous cold water, ice, and snow can be. Just in case, we would like to say that animals around the world get in trouble all the time. The desire to save them is admirable, to say the least, but please, think of your own safety first, and do not step on the thin ice if there is no person nearby who can save you in case of any trouble. This is it for today.